Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's edition of the LTT Podcast. My name is Brendan Plays. This is the show where we answer all the questions that you guys send in every single week on the Brendan Plays forums at brendanplays.com/forums, in the YouTube comment section down below, or over the Facebook page at Brendan Plays Official. You can also leave a voicemail by heading to the website brendanplays.com and clicking the green button on the right-hand side of the page. Well, this week, it's a bit of a delayed show. I apologize for that. There is a good enough reason, I think, for that. Well, generally we do the shows now on a Thursday, and a Thursday night I went and played some cricket, indoor cricket, and all was going pretty good. Having a lot of fun, playing pretty good. I was having a pretty good day out, and hit the ball. And in cricket, when you hit the ball, you have to run to the other end. And I was running, just about to complete my run, and then my ankle slipped, and I rolled my ankle pretty badly, and it was like I got shot in my foot. And I went down. I tried to get back up and keep playing. Took one step and I went down again. I couldn't walk, and I hobbled off the field. I used my cricket bat as like a walking stick to get me off the field. For some reason, nobody wanted to help me off the field, so I had to do it all by myself, and my ankle absolutely just distraught. It was probably the worst pain I've ever had, and it is the worst injury I've had. So, I was really, really bad pain. So I had to go to the hospital, and I was there for about 3 hours. And thankfully, it's just a sprain, but it will mean that I'm going to be out of action for 4 to 6 weeks, I think the doctor said. That's a maximum, but hopefully earlier than that. So it's a real pain. I am in pain, but that's why the show was a little late this week. I kind of wanted to get home and do the show, but when I got home, I just felt, you know what, I'll just do it tomorrow. It can be a late one. So, I do apologize for that, but hopefully you guys do forgive me, and thanks to everyone who has sent in some nice tweets to me saying, get well soon, blah, 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 blah. Really, really appreciate that. It's not too bad. It really hurts to walk right now, and that'll probably be the case for about a week. I've got like a big lump on my ankle, probably like the size of a golf ball, I guess you could say. It's just right on the bone, or the ankle bone, on my left foot, so that's a real pain. So it's manageable, but pretty painful right now. So I guess Finn Balor isn't the only one who got injured this week as well. My injury, not anywhere near that scale, but I'm going to be having to rest up and put the feet up for at least a week or two before I can start walking freely again. So really annoying, because cricket season's actually about to start up in about a couple weeks' time, and I was really trying to aim to get myself fit and ready for that. So to kind of go down with an injury, like my first ever injury, really, my first injury that's ever kept me off the sidelines, it's really annoying. So I'm not exactly thrilled about that, but we'll get better and we'll keep soldiering on. And this week on the show, we have plenty to talk about. Obviously, we're coming off NXT TakeOver, and we're going to start the show off in a moment's time with that. We also have Summerslam to talk about as well. Of course, Raw and SmackDown, plus plenty of your questions as well. Initially, right off the bat, I'll say this weekend of wrestling was very draining, but very enjoyable. Obviously, a huge weekend, and it feels like you just went through a marathon, and once we finally got through the end of SmackDown, it was over. Thank God. But actually, SmackDown was probably one of the best shows of the week, so that's why, knowing that, alright, SmackDown's coming up, I was actually pretty excited for SmackDown. And, whilst I've been a SmackDown guy, I openly said that I love SmackDown, and I love what they're doing, and I'm always going to be a SmackDown guy through and through. I actually definitely think that they are killing Raw right now. And one of the reasons SmackDown got so much buzz this week was the Miz promo. And I guess that's a good leeway to kind of kick us off this week. And we're going to talk about the Miz promo that he cut on Daniel Bryan. Now, I know you guys possibly have listened to other shows this week and kind of, heard everything by now. It feels like, a pay-per-view that happened on Saturday with TakeOver. It feels like that was like a month ago, like a week in wrestling. Feels like so much time. So I won't probably spend too much time discussing SummerSlam and TakeOver too much. We'll kind of get into what we need to, but we'll kind of focus on Raw and SmackDown again, as always. But this week with SmackDown, we'll start off the Miz promo, then we'll head into TakeOver. But the Miz promo on Bryan, was it a shoot? Was it a work? I mean, I watched the entire Talking Smack show. It was a work. I mean, The Miz, I think, was planning to come there and go back and forth with Bryan. I think that part was planned, but I don't necessarily think the things that The Miz said to Daniel Bryan was necessarily a work. I think it's kind of a mixture of both. Like, yes, they planned to talk and have The Miz come in there, but did they really plan to have Miz go off like that on Daniel Bryan? I don't think so. I don't think they could plan for anything like that. Tell The Miz to get all fired up and go crazy and, at Daniel Bryan and then blah, 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 blah. I mean, I don't think he could have done that. I think it was a fantastic promo, arguably one of The Miz's best ever in his career. And I've been saying for a number of years now, Miz is a great promo. He's one of the best talkers in the company. The problem for me is when he gets in the ring, that doesn't resonate. He's not I guess, I don't think he's a coward in the ring like Daniel Bryan said, but I definitely think he is a little bit lackluster, a little bit boring. And as a champion, I think he's a great entertainer. He's not really a great wrestler, which is why I've always been thinking the guy probably should be a manager. He should be a spokesperson. He should be, doing the talk show hosting. He should be a guest commentator. I think he should be doing all these different roles, but in the ring, not so much. I think The Miz's commentary, is not too bad. I think, would be a lot better than David Otunga or Byron Saxton. But I think what The Miz is doing as a champion has been a little disappointing because we haven't been seeing enough matches out of him. He's just getting talking segments, and I think he needs to be in the ring defending the championship, and that's why I was excited for the Apollo Crews thing. That didn't really happen. It kind of fizzled out, unfortunately. So The Miz firing up here, getting himself a bit of buzz. I think it's great. SmackDown really on fire. Talking Smack, I think, has kind of made it that segment on the network, that show on the network, almost must see. I think people now will go, wow, this show is pretty good. They've done pretty good. The segment before where they had Nikki Bella get injured or beaten up by Carmella, I think that was a little awkward, a little bit weird, but still, it was effective. Carmella getting a little bit more of Nikki Bella, beating her up again, and we'll talk more about her heel turn later on. But so I think Talking Smack, I think it is the official third hour of SmackDown, but it's an optional third hour. And I kind of tune in here and there and listen to some of things, some of the clips they put up on YouTube. I don't necessarily watch the full show. This was the first week that I had watched the full show. Obviously, it was a much shorter show. But, I think that's a really well-produced show, and I think it's done wonders, and I think that's going to be a nice sort of marketing tool they can use to promote the network. And they did really, 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 really well this week. So I definitely am impressed what The Miz did. I think it was a great promo. Some people are comparing it to the CM Punk promo. I don't think it's necessarily on that scale, but I definitely think it's a great promo in a time where promos aren't exactly, WWE's, strong point, let's just say the least. I mean, we look at the Titus O'Neil promo this week, it was absolutely dreadful. We've had some good promos on SmackDown. I think SmackDown, their promos are on point. Raw, kind of struggling a little bit there. So SmackDown, I'm biased. I gotta say, I just love SmackDown right now. SmackDown is really doing well. I genuinely look forward to watching SmackDown every week. And Raw to me, it's hit or miss. And I think they've missed in the last 4 weeks. So this week again, I think we've had Raw with 1 win. SmackDown have had 4 wins. 4 in a row! So that makes it 1 versus 4 out of 5. So Raw got to pick up your game. And I'm always going to say it, the third hour. If Raw was 2 hours, SmackDown was 2 hours, and Raw had like a network show like SmackDown to kind of continue it on, then I think that would be the way to go. Look at SmackDown. Yes, they still technically have 3 hours of programming. It's optional. It's not in-ring. It's talking. It's different. It's a different style, different dynamic. It's cool. Whereas Raw, they kind of drag it out. And this week, especially with Raw, I guess they had to kind of rewrite the whole show just before the show began because of the Finn Balor injury. And because of that, it was just a little bit of a boring show. Yes, the matches were somewhat important, but we kind of knew who was going to win. So it was a bit of a predictable show throughout. And they kind of based the whole Raw around that. So because of that, it was a pretty predictable show and a pretty lackluster show, to be honest. But we'll get into that later on, and we'll talk about NXT TakeOver right now. And I want to kick off NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, back to Brooklyn, with Bobby Roode. You guys know I love Bobby Roode. And finally, we get to see his in-ring debut. But it's not the in-ring stuff that I want to talk about. It's the entrance. Let's be honest. How good was this entrance? He was risen above like he was a god. And the music playing, the crowd singing along. One of the best entrances that I've seen. What a way to make your debut in the ring, let's be honest. Came to the ring. He felt like a major star coming to the ring. This guy was legit. The crowd were on board. He felt like a big deal. It was absolutely awesome. In the ring, did he have a good match? It was okay. I think Andrade did a lot better in the ring, no doubt about that. But I think Bobby Roode doesn't really need to bring out the big technical moves. I think he just needs to focus on the gimmick, focus on getting the catchphrase over, and he's definitely doing a great job of that. And he was focused on getting some heat, and it was good. So I think definitely Bobby Roode will be a top-tier name in NXT, probably in the title picture the next 2-3 months, no doubt about that. I think many of us kind of believe that he could be the one to beat Nakamura for the first time and win the NXT Championship. Wouldn't surprise me. The other name that I'm throwing out there is Hideo Itami. That's probably the only two guys that I could possibly see coming in the next 6 months and beating Nakamura. So we'll see, but it's certainly an exciting time for NXT. And I definitely will be watching NXT to see my man Bobby Roode. He is absolutely glorious. He is just awesome. I cannot wait to see more of him. And I just love the fact that the crowd was singing along to the song. The song is so good. It's so great. It's just glorious, you know. So I love it. And I love the Glorious Bomb, as you guys know. And I was kind of nodding my head along to the song, you know. So I'm really, really into it. I really, really love it. So I think Bobby Roode, I liked him in TNA. He was always my favorite in TNA for the little amount of TNA that I watched. So now he's probably my favorite in the entire WWE right now. I'm on board. So I want to see more, but I'm definitely on board. And Bobby Roode now crowned my favorite. So next up we had Amber Moon. I want to talk about her. Impressive debut. We knew who she was going to win. But the only real thing that I have to say is, you know, she was very, very good in the ring. I think she's going to be a top woman in NXT, potentially a threat to the women's champion, Asuka, later on. I think Ember Moon, she's got the whole red eye deal going on, the red moon in the entrance, but her hair is blonde. She's got the blonde, I think it's brown and blonde. So why isn't it maybe brown and red? Why doesn't she have the red tips or the red, you know, what's going on there? Why isn't it black and red? I mean, she's Ember, she's red, but yet her hair isn't red. I just don't see what point of that. And her attire wasn't red either. So they're going to go with a full-on red thing. The only thing red on her was her eyes, and that was pretty creepy. So that's really the only thing now, kind of like a bit of a question mark, a bit of a confusion surrounding her look there. I think she needs to kind of, if she's going to go the full-on red thing, I know even Marie's already kind of got that, so maybe that's why they're not letting her go full-on red. I don't know. But, yeah, so that's the only real concern I had there. Other than that, great match. I think she's going to have a big future in NXT. I think I've heard a lot of great things about her on the independents, so I think she's going to have a very, very successful time in NXT, no doubt about that. The main event, Nakamura versus Joe. I think we all kind of knew Nakamura was going to get the victory, and not a bad match. I don't think it was a classic or anything like that, but it was okay. I think Joe suffering a broken jaw or a fractured jaw, something along those lines, because of the Kinshasa from Nakamura. So I guess it goes to show he does hit you, and when he hits you good. So Nakamura, champion, well deserved. He's great. He's definitely one of my other favorites at NXT right now. I'm looking forward to seeing how he goes as champion. Alright, so we'll move on to SummerSlam. The rest of the show at NXT TakeOver, not real concerned about. Didn't really interest me too much. It was a little predictable. I mean, I thought the Gargano and Ciampa might beat the Revival. They didn't, so whatever. But, and Asuka beating Bayley, I think we all kind of knew that was going to happen. SummerSlam, we'll kick it off with the controversial Randy Orton finish. Now, did Brock go off script? Many people still believe that he did. Look, from the reports that I've heard, basically, Lesnar, he knew the finish was going to be like a TKO. Randy Orton knew it, and apparently Lesnar, he knew how to easily cut Randy Orton open. I think Lesnar just kind of went a little overboard, kind of struck him a little bit too good, and cut him open a bit too much. 10 staples, I think it was, and that kind of really bloodied up Randy Orton pretty badly. So I think this match was a little disappointing, a little underwhelming. I would love to see a rematch. I don't know if we will see a rematch, but I would really, really love to see another one. I think, obviously, right now, Randy Orton kind of moving on to a different rivalry. I think it was Bray Wyatt. Is that the case on SmackDown from my memory? I think they're still sticking with that. But, so I'm really looking forward to seeing where they go with that. But I would have liked to see maybe one more match between Lesnar and Orton, because I feel like I just didn't get what I wanted. I wasn't satisfied. I think we all wanted to see the RKO coming off the F5. I think we all wanted to see those huge moments, and we didn't quite get that. It was a brutal match. Orton got his ass handed to him. Lesnar looked great. But I would love to see those two guys lock up one more time. Best match of the show, without a doubt, AJ Styles and John Cena. I think we can all agree there. Terrific match that we all knew that was going to be great. Styles getting the win. A little surprising, but had to happen. Styles now, as we know, going to go into Backlash, compete for the championship. That's what I said last week. Styles must win, because now you've got a top heel competing and against a babyface champion. They've got no other heels. If Styles lost, we can't really justify him going after the championship, can you? And Bray Wyatt, he's their only other top heel. They need probably one more heel to join that group there, so they have 3 top babyfaces, 3 top heels. So they need another heel, so they need to kind of really protect their heels right now. They need to protect AJ Styles. And Cena, he can lose. No one's going to care. No one's going to think of Cena any differently. Whatever. He can lose, move on. Styles, though, a loss against Cena, well, we've seen in the past, many believe a loss against Cena isn't that bad, but just ask Rusev, and the list goes on and on and on. So Styles needed this victory. Now competing for the championship, I think it's very, very good. I thought Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler, very, very disappointing, very underwhelming, did not live up to the hype whatsoever. I think this was one of the most anticipated matches of the show for me. I think that match was going to be great, but it really wasn't. It was pretty bad. It was very, very... it was shit, let's be honest. It wasn't good at all. So very, very disappointing there. Finn Balor getting injured after winning the Universal title. We'll talk about the Universal title in a moment, but the Finn Balor injury, how disappointing. Great that he won the championship. I think they solidified himself as a major star and one night back on Raw a few weeks ago, but they kind of topped it off here by having him win the championship. Now, full-fledged main event guy, top name, gonna be pushed to the moon and will be a major star for Raw going forward. Great, they've established a brand new name, a new main event player. That's something that we've always needed. We need more top guys, more guys who are over. And Finn Balor is just starting to get over. Fans starting to get into his new demon character. Well, not the demon character, but the reintroduced to the demon character, the Demon King. They're going to start marketing that, going to start doing all that, and then boom, Seth Rollins injures him. Now, do we blame Seth Rollins? Bret Hart certainly does, but do we blame Seth Rollins? I think it's partly both. I think the powerbomb has already injured Sting. Why is Seth Rollins still doing it? And still doing it to the ringside barricade. Now, Finn Balor moved his arm back to try and block the fall, and unfortunately dislocated his shoulder, kind of tore something now. I'm not sure about the specifics. You guys can look it up. But yeah, he's going to be out to 4 to 6 months. And after winning the championship, how disappointing. I think Finn Balor probably should have told the ref, look, I got injured. You know, he probably told him, and maybe the ref said, just keep going with it, keep going with the same finish. But I think they probably should have done an audible in the ring and probably changed the finish and make Seth Rollins win, because now the first champion relinquishes it the next night. It kind of makes the title look a little shitty, doesn't it? Like, the first ever champion had it for one day. I mean, come on. It's a little disappointing, isn't it? So I probably would have changed the finish halfway through and have Rollins beat Balor. I guess hitting him with the pedigree certainly would have hurt, pulling the arm back like that. So kudos to Finn Balor for finishing the match. He's one tough SOB, and that's what we want to see. You know, these guys, we don't want to see the referee calling it off. We don't want to see the referee stop the match. We want to see these guys finish it out. Finn Balor did it, and I know Triple H will probably have a newfound respect for him doing that, considering Triple H has done, very similar in the past. So, very, very cool that Balor won. Unfortunately, it's led to nothing, but when he comes back, hopefully he's back for WrestleMania season, and hopefully he comes back and is back in the title picture. I think we'd all love to see that. So, the Universal title. We're going to talk about the SmackDown title later on as well, the new SmackDown titles, but the Universal title, so it's the WWE Championship, but it's red. It's red. So it's red, and that represents the universe. How? I don't know. It's original, no. It's creative, no. It's nothing. It just goes to show that I think, I was going to say this, but then obviously now I'm thinking about it now. It's basically, I can say the same for SmackDown, but I was going to say it just goes to show that Raw just continues to do the same shit. No creativity involved. They just wanted to kind of stick to the one theme and kind of go with it. I mean, I get that they want to have like the Women's Championship the same as the WWE Championship. That's cool. I like that. But why not have the Raw Championship completely different to the SmackDown Championship, have their own brand new, unique title? I was expecting I guess a globe is the world, isn't it? Not the universe. How can we even represent the universe? I don't know. So I guess they probably went, well, shit, how do we do this? I don't know. Let's just stick to the same theme and whatever. So, was it a mistake on their behalf to kind of announce the title right there and then? In hindsight, yes. Having announced it a week before on Raw, I think people would have gotten their frustrations about the whole championship and how it looks out of the way. So when it comes to Summerslam, they would have focused on the Finn Balor and Rollins match. So yes, they probably did make a mistake there. But I think at the end of the day, they wanted to have an exciting reveal, and I think we all were looking forward to seeing what it looks like. I think we heard rumors about it beforehand, but it kind of came back to bite them, and they really didn't care about the Finn Balor and Rollins match, which I thought was okay. Not a classic or anything like that, but certainly the crowd took a lot out of it, and that was very disappointing. I think those two guys will meet again one day, and we'll have a great match, hopefully for probably the same championship, and we'll be looking forward to it. And we had some Goldberg chants as well, so I think the crowd were kind of expecting Goldberg to be there. A lot of rumors that he might show up, considering he was in the area for the 2K17 promotion. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think I was expecting Goldberg. I heard he's got an injury anyways, so we'll see. We'll see what happens there. And, I looked at Goldberg. He looks pretty good. He definitely is old. He's 50 years old. Here's the thing with Goldberg. You bring him back, he's not going to have the same power. He's not going to have the same intensity. He's not going to have the same look. He's going to be a shell of his former self. He can't do it. He can't be the same guy that he was 15 years ago. He can't be. But, would I like to see him come back as an appearance and just spear someone one more time? Absolutely. Would I love to see him come back and wrestle? Probably not. No, I love Goldberg. Big fan of Goldberg. But let's just leave the what if alone. Have him come back and spear the living shit out of Heath Slater. Who doesn't want to see that? That would be awesome. So, I would love to see him come back, get the Hall of Fame, get what he deserves, but have him a match? Goldberg wasn't exactly a great in-ring worker 20 years ago now at this point. Well, not quite, but, 18 years ago. So, is he going to be any better since what? What was the last match he had? 03, 04? So, over a decade beyond, I don't think so. So, let's just kind of leave that alone, but let's have him come back and do something and, have the appearance and do something along those lines, like I said, and that would be a lot of fun. So, we'll move on to this week's Raw. Initial overall thoughts on SummerSlam, I thought it was very underwhelming. A 4-hour-long show that probably didn't deliver. Couple good matches, but the rest of the show, little disappointing. And, yeah. Oh, the Nikki Bella return, yeah, she got a good pop, and that was cool, but having it that match on the main card was still pretty shitty. But anyways, move on to Monday Night Raw. So, who's going to be the next champion? Big Cass, Kevin Owens, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins. Who is going to be the champion? I heard the rumor was that it was going to be Kevin Owens feuding for the world title at some point until they change plans. So I guess they do have Kevin Owens in that frame of mind. They do want to have Kevin Owens established as a top tier guy. I would love to see Kevin Owens as the world champion, but the only thing in my opinion is that he hasn't had enough singles victories to kind of justify him having the championship. Now, I guess you could say the same for Finn Balor. What has he done? He's beat 2 guys, now he's a world champ. Yes, but I guess Kevin Owens, his momentum has kind of been stop-start for such a long period of time now. So it'd be hard to kind of justify him as a deserving champion in kayfabe point of view. But Seth Rollins, I think he's probably the obvious choice. But do I want to see Seth Rollins as champion again? Not really. I want to see something different on Raw. You know, we're seeing something a little different on SmackDown with some new guys getting some opportunities. Love to see someone new have the belt on Raw. I guess they wanted to do that with Finn Balor, which was a good intentions. Unfortunately, they couldn't do it. So I guess the same would be said for Roman Reigns. He would be just, you know, a step backwards again. Big Cass is nowhere near being world title pitcher. I think it's just a good spot for him to be in, a good chance to kind of showcase himself and be involved in a high-profile match, which is cool. So I guess from the sounds of it, I'm kind of leaning towards Kevin Owens, aren't I? So I guess Kevin Owens would probably be my pick. I would love to see him as champion. Kevin Owens is very entertaining, and I love Jerry KO. Jerry KO, that tag team, phenomenal. They are so entertaining. Love their interactions between the two. It's fantastic. I love it. So I would love to see that tag team keep going, but maybe one of them turns on one another and they have a feud over the belt. I don't know, but you know, there's something they could do there. I just feel like we have Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns win. It's going to be a Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns feud for the next couple months, and I feel like I've kind of seen enough of those two guys wrestle right now that I'd still definitely enjoy it, but I would just like to see something a little different. And maybe Kevin Owens is that something different that I want. I'm not sure, but I think I'd be on board. Titus O'Neil versus Darren Young. Why are we still seeing these two guys go after one another? Titus O'Neil's promo was absolutely abysmal. Didn't they realize the first time Titus O'Neil turned heel that it was an absolute flop? And didn't they realize the first time these two guys wrestled, nobody gave a shit? So now they want to do it again, thinking a year, 2 years later, whatever it is, that it's going to work. It's not. Titus, who kind of renowned in the group, the Primetime Players, as being a good promo, the good talker between the two, he absolutely was horrible. And I've kind of realized, you know, over the last year or so, Titus always fumbles his words. And I obviously I do the same. We all kind of do it. But, you know, when you're on the mic in front of the crowd, they're not really going to forgive you for it. When you're fumbling your words, you're kind of jumbling all over the place. So, you know, Titus O'Neil as a heel, it's forced. No one wants to boo the guy. He's a Father of the Year, a very charitable person. We all know about it. They plugged it like 3 months ago, how great of a guy this guy is. And now, 3 months later, they're trying to say that he's this new Titus, he's new aggressive Titus, and it's not going to work. They tried doing it once, it's not going to work. Titus O'Neil doesn't have the in-ring work, and he just kind of proved as well that his promo skills are not anywhere near the level it should be either. So I wouldn't be surprised if Titus O'Neil and both Darren Young this time next year are not in the company. I feel like their use-by date is coming up. I think Titus O'Neil, getting up there in age, just hasn't gotten better. Just has not gotten better. Just has continued to struggle in the ring, and now his promo skills no good either. Darren Young, this whole make Darren Young great again storyline, no one gives a shit anymore. He was never great to begin with. Bob Backlund, no one cares. No, half the crowd don't even know who he is. It's flopped. And these are the type of segments, these are the type of things that are really kind of killing Raw for me. I think this was a really big black mark on Raw for me this week. Really not good. The other thing that I thought was going to be a work, I was thinking the whole time, no, it's a work, was the Dudley Boy's retirement. I thought for sure that we're going to lead to maybe Bubba Ray turning on Devon, or maybe a team will come out and they'll get their revenge, it'll keep on going, let's have one last match. And no, it didn't happen. They retired, and the rumor is that they are legitimately retired. I thought they actually had re-signed with the WWE, but I guess that fell through and they didn't in the end. And I guess, well, it's all over, you know. The Dudley Boys coming back. I mean, the last 8 months, they've just been losing to everyone. It's kind of been a really lackluster return, really disappointing. It started off good, and I thought definitely these guys are going to win the tag titles, and I think they would have if the New Day wasn't as hot as they were at the time. I think the Dudley Boys would at least have one more tag title run and become 10-time WWE Tag Team Champions. I think we all wanted to see that, but it didn't happen. And it's a little disappointing, and I guess that's just the way it is. But losing the Dudley Boys, I think, is still a big loss. I think they are getting up there in age, kind of made their money. They might be looking to do something else. But it is a big loss. It's disappointing. Could they still re-sign Bubba Ray and have him come back as the bully character? Yeah, it's possible. But I think, let's be honest, where is a mid-40s Bubba Ray going to go in this company who's trying to focus on younger guys right now? He's going to go and have a 2-week push, and then he's going to start to lose to everyone. He's going to be putting over everyone. So is that what they really want to do? That they want to kind of taint their legacy? I mean, I don't think they really care too much about the losing. But I feel like they had the run, they had the return, and now it's time to probably walk away. And I guess that's the way they feel. And, they might come back in some capacity as a backstage role. Obviously Bubba Ray's kind of been renowned to be a little bit difficult to work with, so we'll see. But we'll see how they go. I think obviously they've had their own little training place, and they might just continue to work on that and go from there. They have their own little academy, and it's doing pretty good. So, we'll see. Probably the highlight of Raw this week was Bayley's debut, finally coming on Raw and finally officially on the Raw roster. And now we'll be competing against Charlotte at Clash of Champions for the title. Pretty good. Happy with that. Obviously, Sasha Banks getting injured. They needed someone to replace her. And there was no one else. Who else will they bring in as the top babyface? I mean, who? Alicia Fox? That's it. Who else? Who else is even on that show? I don't even know. So they haven't built up anyone other than Sasha, Dana, Charlotte, and Nia Jax. Dana Brooke, she's not going to turn on Charlotte because she's, Vince McMahon. The reports say he's not exactly thrilled with her ring work. So there was really no one else, no choice. Bring in Bayley. She's a perfect replacement. She's immediately over. The crowd knows she is. The crowd love her, and away we go. It's good. It's great, and it's enough time to kind of fill in the gap before Sasha Banks returns. And when Sasha Banks comes back, she can come back off the championship and renew that rivalry right there. So maybe it's even a Sasha and Bayley rivalry. I know they're kind of planning for that maybe one day down the line. So looking forward to it. And, so I really feel like Bayley on Raw was the right decision. I think some people kind of thinking, why didn't she come to SmackDown? SmackDown have got 6-7 good women on that roster. They've got enough there to kind of have their own little decent division. After time, they can start to build them all up and get that going. Raw, really struggling a little bit. They kind of don't have the star power a little bit. I mean, they got Summer Rae, Alicia Fox there. Really lacking any potential top women to kind of break through. So I think you'll find that the next woman to come up will probably go to Raw again. Who that will be, I no idea. But I think for now, Raw certainly needs the help with their women's division. And I guess you could probably argue, why not have all the women on one show? Why not have all the women on SmackDown or Raw? Preferably Raw, and then have the cruiserweights on one show. I guess that's probably the way I would have done it. The cruiserweights on one, the women on the other. But I guess they kind of want to have their own separate divisions of both, and I don't think that's a good idea. I think after time you're going to find out that that you're going to start to see the same matches over and over and over, and it's not going to be exciting, and it's going to get pretty old, pretty stale pretty quickly. So they'll find that out. I think they'll learn from their mistakes, hopefully, but yes, a little disappointing. And I guess we'll start off again with the new tag titles and the new women's championship for SmackDown. And like I said, SmackDown, much better show again this week. But the new titles, well, I guess the only thing WWE knows how to do right now is color in. I think the only tool they've learned how to use is paint. And they use the paint tool and they fill in the color. Because now we have silver belts instead of the bronze, copper belts, whatever. the silver belts look much better. Oh my god. They look really good. Let's be honest, really good. But, again, would have liked to have seen a new design. Something different, something new. We didn't get that, a little disappointing. But the titles do look really, really good, and I'm really happy to see, really happy to see SmackDown gets the better titles. The women's title, again, blue, but I like it. I do like it, and I think, here's the thing. I think from the get-go, they probably should have done the Raw and the SmackDown World Championship belts. And the way they've done it, the Universal, the WWE Champion, I don't like it. They probably should have just done Raw Champion, SmackDown Champion, have one belt red, one belt blue. I think we all would have been like, alright, sweet, fine. So if they wanted to continue that trend down the line as well for the women's division, fine. But I guess they didn't do that, so it's kind of all over the place. And I guess that's why the fans are kind of resenting a little bit. So I think they kind of messed up there in kind of naming the championships in the right way. But I think it's disappointing that there's no new design, but the designs they have here I feel like are better than the originals. But that's not saying much, with the tag titles probably being one of the worst belts I've ever seen, and the women's title being pretty good, but I do like the blue a little bit better than the red. Just me, just my own little preference. Maybe I'm just SmackDown biased again, I don't know. Tag title tournament is going to be happening on SmackDown. They kind of kicked it off on the last episode of SmackDown this week. I like it. It's a chance to kind of build up some teams before you throw them in the tag title mix for the championships. I think I personally would like to see Heath Slater and Rhino win. I loved their little interaction they had. It was a bit of a feel-good moment, wasn't it, when Rhino said, you know what, I'm going to team up with you. And I think it's cool. I would love to see those guys team up and go all the way. I think the crowd are really enjoying Heath Slater. He's getting over. I think the crowd are really, really liking this storyline and what they're doing with Heath Slater. And personally, I am too. I think it's great. I think it's entertaining. I think it's a perfect little thing for SmackDown to keep going with. And it's working. It's really working. And Rhino and Heath Slater reminds me of like a Kane and a Rob Van Dam situation where two, odd couple or, an odd pairing kind of comes together and they kind of make things work. Maybe that's the case. Potentially where I see this going, maybe, Rhino's trying to set up for a spear and Heath Slater gets in the way and Rhino hits the spear on the gore on Heath Slater and then Rhino gets pinned or something like that and then Rhino, turns on Heath Slater or whatever. I don't know. But something along those lines I could see happening. If not, maybe they'll just go all the way. Why not? Screw it. Who cares? I guess American Alpha would be the obvious choice, but we don't have to rush and give the American Alpha the championships just yet. Why not continue to build them up? And why not have Heath Slater get this feel-good, lucky moment, gets a contract finally? I think it would be a tremendous moment. And if it's a good crowd for Backlash, I think the Backlash crowd would absolutely go nuts for it. So that's just me. I think right now I'd love to see those two guys get the win. But it's also good, though, to give a bit more exposure for the tag teams on SmackDown. We've been talking about the tag division the last few weeks, how they've been struggling. They need some top heel tag teams. And I think that's what they're trying to work on. They're trying to work on this tag team division right now. Lots of talk right now. Maybe the Usos will turn. So look forward to seeing that. And they're starting to build some teams here. And I'm liking it. I'm liking it indeed. And SmackDown, it's going to take some time. And here's the thing with the branded pay-per-views. The one brand on one pay-per-view. I think Backlash, for example, Clash of Champions, No Mercy, or whatever else is coming up. These pay-per-views, I think, are going to probably be pretty shitty. And I say that because the brands are still new, people are still being developed, stars are still in the process of being created. And I think, in 6 months' time, when we look at the brand split, I think they're going to make some major improvements. I think we're going to see a lot of new guys positioned much higher than they ever were. And I think there's going to be a lot of new talent on the show as well. I think it's going to work a lot better. So I think right now, we look at Backlash, we got AJ Styles and Dean Ambrose. That's going to be a phenomenal match. No pun intended. That's going to be great. Tag title match could be interesting. Women's match, I would probably see it being Becky Lynch. Oh, it's the six-pack challenge, isn't it? So I guess maybe Becky Lynch and Nikki Bella, one of those two might win that one and kind of be the main face of the division. Hopefully it's Becky Lynch, and we'll see a Nikki Bella feud with Becky Lynch down the line. Be happy with that. So we got 3 good matches there. The Miz, who knows what the hell they're going to do with him with the championship? Who's going to feud with him? We don't know. Maybe Daniel Bryan will make him defend it in a fatal 4-way match or something big like that to kind of punish him. That would make sense. Maybe it's a handicap. Who knows? There could be something ridiculous like that. Maybe he has to compete in a ladder match or a steel cage. I don't know. Something stupid, something ridiculous to kind of punish him for what he did would work. It would make sense. So they might do something like that. A gimmick match would certainly help this pay-per-view out. But that's only, 4 matches on the show. What else are we going to kind of see there, So, I guess Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt. So that's 5 matches. Maybe they might add in a couple filler matches. Maybe Kurt Hawkins makes his debut, something like that. So, there's going to be some matches where they're going to have to try and fill in some extra time that aren't going to be very exciting to see. So, I think you're going to find that a lot of the time when they try and fill in that, maybe that extra hour. I don't know how long the pay-per-views are going to be. I think 2.5 hours would be the sweet spot. I think 3 hours would probably drag it on a little bit more, and they don't really need to go that long. So, yeah, I think having SmackDown as an example to see how they go, it's going to be tough. I mean, it's going to be very tough for them to put on a great show. It's difficult for them to put on a 4-hour Summerslam when they have both brands combined. How difficult could it be for SmackDown to put on a great show when it's just them? But SmackDown has been doing well, and maybe they'll continue to carry that over. The thing I do like about it is if they only have 5-6 matches, well, AJ Styles and Dean Ambrose will get 25-30 minutes. Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton get 20 minutes. So this will be very exciting to see and kind of give a little bit more time to the matches that deserve it and can really allow them to be special matches. And I think that's something that we'd all like to see, to be honest with you. I think sometimes the matches we really look forward to seeing just fall flat because, well, mainly due to lack of time at some points. So I think Backlash will be very interesting to see, and it's going to be difficult for them to get it right. Hopefully they do. Hopefully there isn't too much filler, and hopefully they don't try and drag it along to 3 hours. Just keep it at 2.5. And considering that, you can have another pay-per-view 2 weeks later. So try not to drain your fans too much. Otherwise, it'll become too much, and they'll start dipping off. They might only start watching one of the show, not SmackDown and Raw. They might just decide to watch SmackDown instead of Raw, and try and compensate for the amount of time they're putting into WWE. So 2 to 2.5 hours would be the sweet spot for me. Carmella turning heel on Nikki Bella had to happen. Her babyface run was abysmal. We've been criticizing her the last few weeks. No reaction. Crowd didn't care at all. The promos that she would do were horrible. So her just being aggressive, fine, good. Had to happen. And it might just save her from going right down to the bottom of that division. She was probably on her way to being the one who gets pinned every week because she was doing that badly. So it's disappointing to see her have to turn. I think her as a babyface with Enzo and Cass was fun, but I think a heel turn has to happen for her to kind of revive her, save her SmackDown career already. So that's SmackDown this week. I think Styles and Ziggler was a good match as well. Styles and Ambrose will be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that. But that'll do us for SmackDown chat this week. We have some questions as well, so we'll get straight into them for you guys. So first up on this week's show, our questions. The first question is coming from Thomas Speller. Do you think Bayley would have been better going to SmackDown to give their women's division more star power? Look, they have enough star power. Becky Lynch, Nikki Bella now. If Nikki Bella wasn't there, I would say yes. But now you got Nikki Bella there. Good. Enough star power there with Alexa Bliss, Carmella, having the opportunity to take that next step as well. Naomi being back, she's got a fun, new look to her, new gimmick. I like it. So there's plenty of potential there, and you also have Eva Marie as well. So there's plenty of potential there, and they can just keep going on with that. And I guess I forgot to talk about the whole Eva Marie suspension. I think, here we go. We actually have a question for it. This one comes from Chat GM. What are your thoughts on Eva Marie getting suspended for violating the wellness policy, and does this hurt her since she won't be getting into the ring anytime soon? If anything, I think it makes her storyline even better. I think it's actually the perfect excuse for her to not wrestle. I think they wanted to kind of prolong that. I think at SummerSlam we were all kind of expecting her to walk out on her team regardless and not actually compete. So her not competing, well, isn't that just perfect? It just fits straight into the perfect storyline. She got done for Adderall. I think that's the same thing that's rumored to be going around right now that Del Rio and Paige got done for as well. So Adderall strikes again, and she'll serve a suspension. I don't think it's going to hurt her. I think they'll bring her back. She'll still get a bad response. Maybe she'll, get some cheers for doing drugs or whatever. So we'll see. But I don't think she'll go down the card or anything like that or lose. I think they're still going to continue to push her. If anything, it just helps her storyline. She's gone for a holiday for a month apparently now, so she'll be back. She's tired, so she's sitting home with her feet up. This one's from Jay Bates. His question is, do you think Carmella's heel turn, what do I think about her heel turn, and who should be the first SmackDown women's and tag champions? Well, I kind of answered this a little bit before, but I definitely think Carmella's heel turn was pretty well executed. I think that following it up on Talking Smack later on had to happen as well, just kind of really put it over the top. So that was good. I didn't mind them doing that. The first women's champion, to me, it has to be Becky Lynch. You have to reward her for all the great work she's done for the last year. Kind of helped carry this division. When Nikki Bella was out for all this time, Becky Lynch stepped up. Charlotte stepped up. Sasha Banks was in and out with injury. And, Naomi was out with injury. A lot of these other women out with injury. But Becky Lynch, she stepped up, and I think she should have been champion early this year. Didn't get it. Well, why not now? She's the top woman on the show. Let's position her as the first SmackDown's women's champion. Having Nikki Bella win would be a step backwards, in my opinion. While she has some star power, Becky Lynch has to be the one to do it, and I think she would be a great champion. First tag champs, like I said, probably going to be American Alpha, but hey, Heath Slater and Rhino, we'll see how they go next week, see what the crowd reaction is. I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't hate it. If they're a fun team and if it's working, the crowd like it, I would say go with them. American Alpha, they're going to win at some point. They're going to be tag champs for a long, long time when they do win it. Maybe the Rhino and Heath Slater things last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe until the next pay-per-view. And then you have the American Alpha beat them and get the titles. This one's from Roy the Boy. Do I think Noelle Foley will make it in the WWE? Absolutely. I think she's kind of been in amongst it already. I watched the entire Holy Foley first 5 episodes. Gotta say, I don't mind it. It's silly. It's kind of goofy. It doesn't feel like necessarily a reality show. It feels like a lot of things are kind of scripted and set up. It certainly has that feeling to it. So it feels like it's a very scripted type show. So it's okay. I don't mind it. It's fun. And the Foley family is certainly a weird bunch of people, and they certainly make for some not compelling viewing, but not a light show to watch. You can kind of kick back, do something in the background, and kind of have it there going, and you can follow along pretty easily. So it's not a bad show, and I definitely think she probably will make it. Good-looking woman. She's young. She's 6 foot tall, so she could certainly have that kind of physical presence there. I don't think she's that athletic, but she can work on it. Maybe one day she'll get there. I think probably within the next year or two, she will probably be in NXT. This one's from Thomas Speller. Out of all the features that have been announced for W2K17, what are you most excited to play? Without a doubt, Universe Mode. I mean, that's my bread and butter. That's what I love to do the most. Universe Mode is my thing. So, Universe Mode on W2K17, I'm very much so looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. New features as well. Looking forward to trying them out and kind of incorporating them into my Universe Mode, but definitely Universe Mode. Well, I think that will do it for this week's edition, guys. Make sure you do check out our sponsor, Loot Crate, where you can get yourself a WWE Slam Crate. Use the code PLAYZ, PLAYZ, and you can get 10% off your Loot Crate. But make sure you click the link in the description down below and get yourself a WWE Slam Crate, which will be coming out very, very soon. Only available in the US and Canada at the moment, unfortunately. So Loot Crate has kind of come on board and helped the channel out, and will be our new sponsor for the next couple of months. So that's very, very exciting for me. And you guys, I know, will probably have used Loot Crate in the past. I actually have never used Loot Crate, and I'm very excited to get on board with that. And I think I'll have a Loot Crate review at some point for you guys in the future. That's going to be a lot of fun. But so make sure you check out our sponsor. Leave a question for next week's show. I apologize for this one being late and a bit of a shorter show as well. I actually thought this was going to be a long one, but we kind of got through everything pretty quickly. And make sure you leave a question for next week's show. You can do so via the YouTube comment section and the Facebook page, Brendan Plays Official, when I do post up the official weekly post, and of course the forums, brendanplays.com/forums. Hope you guys have a great week. I'm going to go and rest my foot, and hopefully next week, I will be in a much better state, and hopefully I'll be up and walking again okay. And hope you guys have a great week. Survivor Series this weekend. I think right now there's a chance I'm going to have to delay it a day. I think I lost a day yesterday. I planned all last night to get a lot of the editing done, get everything done, and now this injury that I've got has kind of pushed me back probably a day. So I think at this point, unfortunately, we might have to delay a day, which really sucks, but that might have to be the case. So I hope you guys forgive me. We'll see. I'll keep you guys posted. So if not, it'll still be Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If not, it'll be Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time instead. So we'll see. Hope you guys enjoy it, and hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you all next Thursday.